Beautiful winter day today in Milwaukee, but bitter cold, only -5 degrees Fahrenheit today in the morning. And of course, our real estate has been built to withstand this kind of weather, but still there is quite a bit of an impact. And in order to take a look at that, I brought my trusty thermal imager. So let's go take a look and see what actually happens to your house in this kind of weather. So this is a typical 1950s built Milwaukee ranch home, and I have to say, for being 75 years old and not up to modern insulation standards, the house does a pretty good job of keeping the inside warm. But the exterior envelope has some significant weak points, and one of them here is the top of the basement wall, which in this case is uninsulated. And you can see it losing precious heat. It's glowing bright orange, and that's where the heat is escaping from the inside. This is the inside of the basement wall, and you're looking at the box sills, sometimes also referred to as rim joists. They're typically filled with fiberglass batt insulation, and I've removed one of them and you can see clearly the temperature difference. Even if they're not installed correctly, like this one here, you can see how much heat we are losing through that opening. In modern homes, this would be typically insulated with spray foam insulation, which on top of the insulating properties also provides an absolutely airtight seal to the outside. Here's a quick look at the water heater. Always cool to see the cold water inlet pipe and then the hot water supply line. Here's a look at the door leading into the garage. So it's cold out there, and you can see that door is not extremely well insulated. It's relatively cold, and you can also see cold air bleeding through at the bottom. In this case, we have an insulated garage door, so each panel has about 2 inches of closed cell foam insulation sandwiched in between the metal sheets on the outside. And you can see it makes a huge difference. Look how warm the door is showing up, but we're still losing heat. You can see it here in the corner and on the bottom where we have some air leaks and cold air is bleeding in from the outside. We have already replaced the windows, so it's interesting to see that most of the heat loss is actually not through the double pane glass, but rather through the frame of the window. And when you look at the walls, you can see actually the thermal bridging. Those are the studs that you can see shining through the wall here. The insulation is sitting between the stud cavities, and so the studs are showing up colder because that creates a thermal bridge or a temperature bridge right to the outside. And of course, you always have those corners that have double exposure to the cold on both sides. So even in a new construction home, they will show up relatively cold. And if you're wondering why heat vents are usually located under a window, here you have visually your answer, at least one of them. The heat vent is trying to counteract the heat loss that is occurring through the window by supplying warm air right in that spot. Another culprit for a cold bedroom could be an outlet. Here we have a good example, and it's sometimes not only the heat loss, but literally cold air leaking in from the outside through a gap and causing that area to feel a little bit chilly. Finally, here is a look into the attic. Improving attic insulation is hands down your best bang for the buck when it comes to improving the energy efficiency of the home. You can see here very clearly where the insulation is leaking warm air from underneath, and also in the background you can see the chimney that is also losing a lot of warmth to the environment. One of the bigger mistakes you can make as a home buyer is paying for a finished basement when in reality it's just painted concrete. A finished basement should be framed, insulated, vapor barriered and drywalled. You can see here we have a little bit of exposed brick wall behind, and you can clearly see the temperature difference to the insulated drywall. What I'm finding is that sometimes my background as an engineer comes in handy when I'm out shopping for a home with clients. My name is m.auerbach with Keller Williams, and when you're ready to go house hunting and you don't want to miss any of the red flags, be sure to reach out to me. You have my contact information in the description below. And if you have any questions about home insulation or any other topic related to buying or selling a home here in the Milwaukee area, put them in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them personally. That's all I got for you today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you at the next one.